In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a quick release tool handle for just $10. It might cost you a little less or a little more depending on what chuck you buy, because that's what this is. This is a 1/2-inch keyless chuck that I bought off of Amazon for $10. I'm not necessarily recommending the one I bought per se. You can make your own choice. There's lots to choose from. It'll hold a 1/2-inch and smaller tool, so not all your tools, but some of them. And for $10, you can't beat that. That's a 1/2-inch bowl gouge I have in there, and you saw just how easy it was for me to install it into the handle. A commercially made handle like this is made by Vicmarc, is going to cost you probably more than $100. And if you're not using the bore size that is included, you're going to need a bushing to go along with it. So that bushing is probably going to cost you more than the keyless chuck that I have here. Now this won't work for anything bigger than 1/2-inch, but you know, this will take care of all your smaller tools. And for $20, you can't beat it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make it. So let's get into it. So what we have is a 1/2-inch keyless chuck. And this is what we're going to make our handle out of. This particular chuck came with a piece to attach to an impact driver, or more like an impact wrench, 1/2-inch impact wrench, an SDS hammer drill, and a quick disconnect for either a drill or a impact driver. These are screws so this threads into the back, and then these screws here thread into the center to keep it from the threads from backing out. So the only thing I need is this, because this is the one I'm going to stick into my handle, that and the chuck. So the rest of this I don't need. We're going to set it aside. This is the chuck that I purchased off of Amazon. I'm going to put some thread lock on this to make sure it doesn't back out with time. So I'm just going to take some degreaser and degrease the threads. Also dry the hands out. So we're going to start by putting a little bit of thread lock. I'm using medium strength thread lock just in case I ever want to take this off of there. That's the thread lock I'm using right there. Let's put it on this Q-tip so I don't get too much on. Gum up the works. This just threads in here like this. I am going to just get it nice and tight. I'm going to chuck that, or put the chuck onto a Phillips bit. Grab this with the wrench. This is a lefty-tighty, so left-hand thread. All right, that's good. We're going to start by drawing lines from corner to corner of our piece of wood on both ends. So I'm going to put this between centers on the lathe. using a spring-loaded center punch. All you have to do is press down on it, create a dimple. So the reason for putting the center punch marks in there is because I have center points here and there, so all I do is stick it into those spots there. I don't have a roughing gouge, or at least not a good one, so I will be using a bowl gouge, 40/40 grind. I don't do a lot of spindle turning of this sort, so I've never invested in a quality spindle gouge. This bowl gouge actually will do this job fairly efficiently, so I've never felt the need to buy a roughing spindle gouge. And I forgot to set my dividers for the tenon size I need to make, so that's what we're doing here. And I'm going to go ahead and put the spindle or the handle back on between centers and make the appropriate size tenon. When you're using dividers to determine or set your tenon size, make sure that the end of the dividers you're holding are higher than the part that is making contact, and the left side of the dividers are the only part that are touching the wood. If the right wing of the divider touches the wood or the right point, it will be caught and thrown into your face. Because we're going to drill some holes in the end of the handle, we need to be able to grip this with the chuck. That's why I'm making a tenon. Here I'm just setting the diameter of the handle. And I'm just using a Henry Taylor handle to help determine where the curves start and stop on my handle. And because the purpose of this video is to show you the process of making this handle, not necessarily how to turn, we're just going to zip through some of this turning here. Here I am starting to define the back of the handle. We're not going to come anywhere near cutting it off. In fact, this could be held off until later. It's just when I decide to do it. Not a big deal one way or the other. Because this tool handle is mostly straight and the curves are very gradual, it's a little faster to power sand, so that's the route I decided to go. In fact, I'm going to cut most of the sanding out here. Okay, so I need to drill a hole so that this nut or the base of this shaft will clear, so that this will basically seat all the way up to the chuck. So we're going to start with a 7/8 hole. Because the handle is about 15 inches long, I want the Forstner bit tip to make contact with the wood before I turn the lathe on to make sure the chuck does not lose grip of the wood. Now we're going to drill the hole for this shank here. Again, the bit is making contact with the wood before I turn the lathe on. Now we have to cut this off the lathe. So I want this supported. I've got a cone center on there, so it can go right into the center of the lathe. So as you see, I already started the process of cutting it loose, but I'm just using a spindle gouge and kind of working from both directions. If I'd given myself a little bit more room, it would make my life a little easier. But this way, I have a very clean cut. If you use something like a parting tool, you have a lot of torn fibers that you'll have to deal with later. Not to mention, I like the end of my handle round, so a nice radius on there can be produced with this spindle gouge. So at this point, I'm working the spindle gouge with one hand and using my left hand to catch the handle when I cut it loose from the chuck. That way it doesn't hit the floor. And we're just going to power sand the little nub off of there. All right, here it is. So I've got a point tool chucked in there, so it'll take a 1/2 inch tool. And you see right there how that's shaped. So this goes right in. You see it? Now, I made it so it'll clear that nut right there. That'll go right in there, and we're going to go ahead and epoxy that. So we're going to start by taping these holes so I don't get any epoxy into the chuck. I'm not claiming this is the best choice, but I decided to use electrical tape to cover those holes. And then I'm just going to use some electrician snips to trim it flush to the chuck. I'm going to start by just going ahead and taping this off. That way, if any epoxy oozes out, we don't get it all over the handle. Let's do the same to the chuck. On the left side of the screen there, you can see the exact epoxy I'm using for this purpose. I'm using it because it is a very strong epoxy. So here I'm trying to get just the right amount of epoxy. Too much and it's oozing everywhere, and too little and I am starving the joint. I like to put a little finish on the handle. This is entirely optional. I'm just using my food safe finish because it's the easiest thing to put on there. TY finish is what I'm using. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick close-up of this tool. So there it is. As far as sizing your handle, you know, size this part here about the same size as the chuck itself. This, whatever you like, and this, whatever you like. If you want your tool to lay perfectly flat, then this part of the tool should be the same size as that. I didn't really achieve that. Doesn't matter too much. So as far as the function of the tool, that's it right there. You quickly change from one tool to another. And because this is a chuck, you know, it'll grip as, turn it the wrong direction. It'll grip as small as you want. There you can see the chuck jaws. I mean, if you want to stick a drill bit in there and use it to drill, you can. But, you know, probably not going to be use it for gripping any tools smaller than 1/4 inch. These tools here are both 1/2 inch. But that's how easy it is to use. Again, you know, so I didn't point this out yet, but you can see how this is a little beat up. That's how that came. Probably a little bit of a fly-by-night company making these chucks, but you know, a $10 risk, nothing, not much to worry about there. I will be trying some other brands, and maybe with time I can tell people which are the best. This idea is not mine. I got it from a guy named Ken. I didn't get his permission to include his full name, so I won't do that. But I just wanted to point that out because I don't like taking credit for things that are not my ideas. So there you have it. There you have it, guys. So far, I think I'm really going to like this tool. I just made it. I got this idea from someone else. Like I said, I saw the tool that he had. I looked at it. And I was like, oh, I got to make that. You know, for a $10 tool that is going to you know, hold all of my smaller gouges. And I will be teaching a woodcraft class here pretty soon. So I'm going to make all of my handles that I use in that class out of this, you know, using these chucks. So I'm really excited to have found this, and I hope that you guys, you know, give this a shot, because for $10, $12, whatever, you know, they're all out there somewhere in that realm, anywhere from $25 down to $9 or so that you can find them. I erred on the side of low because, well, it's the first one. I wanted to see if I liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to catch you on the next one.